I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to be on long tonight. This is Pamela Parrish checking in on a video vlog, chat, speakeasy. But I'm not in the mood to talk. I'm not in the mood for anything really because I found out a famous friend of mine passed away this weekend. Talk about a shitty middle of my birthday week, huh? Yeah. If you are familiar with Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons or Smokey Robinson in the late 80s, early 90s, then this video is for you. A guy by the name of Timmy Stone, or Tim Stone as he's known in the industry. He's a dear friend of mine who I've known for about 9 years. This is just on Facebook. I haven't gone to his house or anything. Just on Facebook. And from what I've experienced with the guy, he was one of the nicest people I had ever met so far on Facebook. He had a nice home in Tennessee. He had a lovely little dog named Toby, and he had some pet cats also. Lived in Tennessee in a nice house. Didn't let fame go to his head. He liked having friends. And he just celebrated his birthday in late April. So earlier today, I get up to find that I'm not feeling well. So I spent most of the day offline. But I got on here about 2 hours ago and was looking at Facebook. And talks about Tim Stone. And it said, rest in peace. And let's see. You know, people are saying, no, no, no. I just heard, oh, Timmy, I can't get my brain wrapped around this news. The world will not be the same without you. You will be so missed. Another one says, I don't have the words. I'll just say he was always nice to me, always encouraging, and just a sweetheart. He will be missed greatly. I'm sorry to his family and close friends and his partner. My heartfelt condolences. Rest in peace, Tim. You're so missed. You know, and another one says, cannot believe the news about the passing of Tim Stone. This person says, when I first came out, he was one of my biggest cheerleaders and always told me I was cheating the world of my greatness by not authentically being me. I'm so grateful that our paths crossed. Rest in peace, Tim. Another person says, I'm just beyond shocked and saddened to learn the news. Can anyone tell me what happened? The comments in that one are, one says, I have no idea. I'm shocked and sad, from another friend of mine. Another one says, no words. You know, and this guy is not only a beacon of light for the gay community, which he was a part of, he was also a person that loved people, period. You cannot be that authentic, you know. Most people aren't that authentic anymore. Let's be honest here, you know. You have to be true to yourself. You have to love yourself, and you love people in between, in spite of what other people may think. You know, I don't care if the guy was gay. He was the nicest man I've ever met. He had a lovely home, great friends, and great people that worked in the industry with him. And I'm glad to be friends with a few of them. And like I said, I don't give a damn about Mr. Frankie Valli right now. I only care about those that don't let fame go to their heads. And Timmy was certainly not one to be a big head about anything. He was just a giving person. He helped a lot of people. And he had a beautiful house, a cute pet dog, and a couple of cats after his dog died. And he was starting to get a house over, I think, in Costa Rica. And he was in the process of getting that fixed up so he could go from his home to his vacation place. You know, a home where you're on the beach, you could have pina coladas, meet good people, and just have a great time and enjoy this thing they call life. And how I got to know Tim is that I just looked him up on Facebook after watching the 1992 concert of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. And my favorite song throughout the whole thing was Silver Star, which he sang. And to me, he looked like a cross between, let's see, David Cassidy and one other person. But just a very nice looking young man. And he also worked with Smokey Robinson, you know, the guy who sang Can You See Her? You know, he played on some of those songs. If you could look up the name Timmy Stone and see what he played on, you'll learn his history. And he's pretty proud of that legacy. You know, I think they said he worked for Frankie Valli from 1992 to 1997 in place of Jerry Pelosi, the drummer that would sing Silver Star in the early days. So, yeah. But Tim Stone, to me, was a very loving and caring person who gave a lot. You know, it wasn't just in terms of music. We're talking about an honest-to-God friendship. You need a friend to talk to? I'm right here. You know, and I didn't talk to him much because he values his privacy, and I understood that. You know, he just had his own little place and just wasn't stuck up. He didn't show off. In fact, a couple of times I've come into Facebook on nights when it would be storming down there where he lived. And I heard the tornado sirens going off and hail hit the house. And he's looking for his cat, and his cat's laying there on the porch, kind of chilling and maxing out. And he says, this cat's not afraid of anything. You know, and I said, you know, and I was on the internet here, and I said, you need to get to the basement. You know, there may be a tornado nearby. And he says, but I don't have a basement, but I do have an enclosed bathroom. I'll go in there once I get the cat. And, you know, he was always straightforward and yet very comforting to people. And for goodness sake, we need that, don't we? So if I sound like a bitch tonight, I have every right to be. We've had a pretty rough year so far. Not only with the loss of Bob McGrath, we lost Jerry Springer, and we lost a lot of other people this year. So don't give me any crap up because I ain't in the mood for it. You can thumb down my shit all you want. I don't really give a flying fuck. You know, and the reason why I get so mad at so-called other famous people who let fame go to their heads. You know, maybe it's because I have severe trust issues with people in general. But we'll get into that in another day. But Timmy Stone was not like that at all. He wasn't some stuck-up guy. He cared about people. He cared about living his best life, his authentic life. And he was an openly gay person in the LGBT community, and helped others come out and be open and honest with themselves and to love themselves. You know, and that's the mark of a real man. It couldn't have been easy for Tim when he grew up, but I'm glad I had him as a friend because he knows that not a lot of people have it so good in this life. And from what I heard from a friend of mine who has seen him personally and talked with him personally, that this poor guy had a heart condition. And it definitely hits home for me because I had a friend that I went to school with from middle school up through high school who was around 6 foot tall, had a gravelly voice, and was just nice as hell. And he had suffered a lot of problems in his young life, from heart conditions to strokes, and it affected his memory. So when he came to my middle school, I took on the task of helping him rehabilitate his short term and long term memory. So for a couple of years there, I would work with him to strengthen his memory and help him do his schoolwork. And he was the best friend I had. He tried dating me, but I really wasn't interested, for certain reasons some people know. And then he came out to me that he was gay. And he says, "You don't hate me, do you?" And I said, "No." I said, "Charles, how could I hate you? I couldn't hate anybody that came out. You know, I don't care if you're gay. You're still my friend, and I still care about you. Just get out there and live your life." But unfortunately, like my friend Tim, my friend died pretty young, not long after high school, believe it or not. I ran into him once at the mall at Eastland before, years and years before it closed. And he said, "Pammy?" And I said, "Charles?" And I said, "You remember me?" And he says, "Of course I would. You know, you helped me with my memory, didn't you?" And I said, "Of course, man. How you doing?" And we talked for a few minutes. And then he had to go because he was with his mother. But, all the strokes and the heart operations left him disabled to a point. So, yeah. And then when I last saw his mother, she was over at Eastland, and she happened to be walking toward the Lazarus, and I didn't see her son with her. And I said, "Mrs. G," to keep it validity, for him. I said, "Where's your son, Charles?" And she stopped for a minute and had to bend down and tell me. Because I was in my wheelchair at the time. I was in a manual chair. And she goes, "Pam, honey, Charles died in his sleep not too long ago." And I was like, "Oh, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." That was all I could tell her. And I said, "Are you heading home?" And she goes, "Yeah. Normally, I would be up here with my son for his doctor's appointments, because when you have something as serious as open heart surgery or heart problems, you have to stay on top of it. And a lot of my friends are sitting in shock tonight. They don't know what the hell happened with Tim. My one hope is that he never suffered and that he went peacefully, but it still hurts." And I put a famous quote from Lilo and Stitch: "I remember everyone who leaves." Because she tells Stitch, "You could stay with us if you want. Our family's little now. You could be our baby, and we would raise you to be good." But Stitch wants to take the little book of the ugly duckling, climb out the window, and leave. She goes, "You can go if you want, but you could stay if you want to too. I remember everybody who leaves." She puts her parents' picture under her pillow and goes to sleep, leaving Stitch to figure out what he wants to do. Does he want to be like the little duckling and say he's lost, or be with a family that actually cares about him? And that's how I feel about Timmy Stone. Do I want to be with somebody like Frankie Valli, who could give two craps about another person? Or do I want to be with somebody like Timmy Stone that actually gave a damn about people? In this case, I'd rather pick Tim Stone because he was a man's man, no matter what some of you in the anti-gay community may think. Tim was my friend, and you know something? I'm glad he was my friend for the 9 or so years that we had a friendship. My one regret is that I never got to go down to Tennessee to actually see him. He was a nice looking young man, and I will miss him greatly. I'm going to get off for the night, get myself something to drink, and get this cake digested. I had to finish up my birthday cake no matter what. But it's been partially a sucky week, so you'll have to forgive me for that. Have a good night, peeps, and I will talk at you later. I'm out of here.